Hey everyone, it's your Ability Warriors leader. How's everybody doing out there? I hope you guys are doing fantastic, and I hope you guys are living your best life, because I know I'm going through it right now, but I hope you learn from my experiences, and I hope you come out the other side. So yeah, this week has been the craziest week ever. This is coming at you on the 8th of March, but probably won't go up till like the 13th or 14th. Because I like to do them on weekends when I have a lot of time. So yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about it's kind of going to be a biography type situation. So the 30 things I learned in 30 years. But it's gonna be pretty much an overview of my life. So I'm gonna just pull up my notes. Hopefully I still have them. And let's get after it, shall we? So my main quote for the day today is, you know better, you do better. I know I said that last time, but I am really trying to live in that truth, because that's the only thing getting me through. Nobody is babying me. Nobody is telling me that everything's gonna be okay. You gotta be your own person. Like I always say, you gotta know what you need. You need to be your own mother, your own caregiver, basically. And so I just want to make you guys aware of that, and I hope you're taking care of yourselves. And I know it's hard to do so when you're in the depths of mental illness, and when you're in the depths of just feeling sorry for yourself and lonely and all that good stuff. Not really good stuff, but all the crappiness. So yeah. So I hope, like I said, I hope you guys can learn from me. And let's actually get after it this time. And okay, so we're just gonna go off the cuff. Because I don't know where it went. Maybe by talking I will be able to figure it out. But yeah, when I was 20, let's do a 10-year in review, basically. This is what it's gonna be. So, when I was 20, I had come to the conclusion that I had to follow the norms. I had to do what everyone wanted me to do. I had to keep my mouth shut about my personal struggles. I had to keep my mouth shut about my sexuality. I had to just not be who I was. And the one thing that I did learn when I was 20, though it came a lot later, it actually manifested itself at 27 years old. The one thing I learned about that era was I got to try new things. So that was when I got to college and I met Minnie Mancino, which she has a YouTube channel and she does minicasts. She's a gamer and she is one of my best and truest friends. Yes, for real, she actually is. And she does podcasts / gaming stuff. I'm not really a gamer, so sorry, Minnie, if I butchered that. But yeah, you should totally go check her out. It's Minicast, and she also does Empire something. Sorry. But yeah, you should go check her out and keep on listening. So, I met her and then we just became really fast friends. And I think she was the only one that has been steadfast in the way she treats me, the way she acts. Like, I've known her for 8 years. We have discussed this, like, over the phone. And she has not, like, she's changed, but she's kind of molded into her own being. So yeah, she is one of a kind, and I also, when I was 20, I found the very first love of my life, and you're probably like, MJ, like, didn't you do a podcast on being gay? And I did, and I think I did anyway. If not, I'm coming out on YouTube. So I'm gay. So basically what that means for me anyway, how I identify, is that I am pansexual. So I love everyone for their heart and what's inside instead of what's between your legs. So it doesn't matter what gender you are, what orientation you subscribe to. I love you no matter what. And that doesn't mean I go out and be like, I love you, please be in a relationship. I love you, please be in a relationship. Like, it just means that, like, if something happens, I'm not gonna discriminate against gender. Wow, that was basically the long-winded version of that. But yeah, I found the love of my life. Actually, it was in high school, but this was, like, middle of our relationship. He taught me a lot about life. He taught me how to be very free-spirited, even though I'm the most uptight human being. He taught me to like go on adventures and like let my hair down, and he was just a safe haven where I could fall. And I had never found that in previous situations. So, yeah. The one thing I didn't like about my 20th year was, I kind of got bamboozled into stuff that I didn't want to do, into school that I didn't want to go to. I'm not a big school person. I'm more of a streets person. I learn as I go. I am not a sit and read. Like, I like structure and I like learning stuff. But if you put deadlines on stuff, I don't do well. I think it has something to do with my disability, or just the sheer fact that I don't like school at all, unless it's like music or art or something that is creative, which is why I'm doing this. So yeah, I learned not to compromise myself, but to compliment myself. So instead of being like, okay, sure, I'll do this for you, I started asking, like, well, I'm not interested in that, so I'm not going to do it anymore. And it took me moving out, or it took a shift in my living situation to make this situation blossom. So what ended up happening was a family friend of mine just saw that I was falling on hard times, and she knew that I was struggling, and she kind of picked me up. And this was 22, but we'll rewind a little bit. At 21, I was, I can't really remember 21, but I know I was still with, my partner at the time. And I think I was just living life. And yeah. And then what I just previously told you happened when I was 22. So 22 was a pivotal year for me. I learned very, very, very fast how to be an adult. I learned how to do navigational skills. I learned how to say no to people when I meant it. I'm still learning, but this is when it really started clicking. I learned to not take crap from anybody. Like, yeah, it made me a little bit more skeptical, but I learned that it's okay to set your own boundaries, and it's okay to not always agree with what society needs and wants of you, because otherwise you'll just be a shell of yourself. So that was a very pivotal moment. And I also learned that staying busy is not the worst thing in the world. Like, staying busy gives you purpose. Staying busy gives you a chance to network with people. Staying busy gave me a sense of belonging. So yeah, I might have hated it, and I might have squirmed, and I might have been like, I don't want to go do that, and protesting it. But in the end, I think that was the best decision that my caregiver could have given to me. So yeah, I did volunteering for a while. I did life boot camp, basically. So I learned everything that I needed to learn in 1 year, mind you. 1 year. And then after that, we were just chilling for the summer, me and my caregiver. And then I kind of had a spark of inspiration, and I was like, hey, maybe I should venture out on my own. Maybe I should move in to my own apartment. So I tried to look locally where I was, and I could not find a single thing. So this was at 23. So at 23, I had just learned all these life skills. So I decided that I was ready and I was prepared to venture out on my own. And little did I know it was going to be harder than hell than I thought it was going to be. But we made it through, and I'm on the other side. But it was hard, and it was struggle bus, major struggle bus. So if you guys are planning to move out on your own, I would kind of do the same thing that I did, like boot camp. Like, just do cold calls to doctor's offices in the area that you want to move in. I would just recommend doing phone calls in general, just to get used to talking on the phone, because that was one of my biggest what do you call it, challenges that I had to overcome. And now I can say that I'm pretty pro at it, on most days anyway. So yeah, I ended up moving to a not so youth friendly town. It was more for the elderly, which is definitely a learning experience, to say the least. If you really want to move out, move to where you want it to be right off the hop, because if you move to a place where you don't want to be, then you might be able to thrive. You might find comfort in the uncomfortability, but that wasn't the case for me. I actually ended up having a deep depression in that stage of my life. So yeah, I lived there for a year, and that was actually when my world came tumbling down, and I pretty much lost my way myself. I lost my best friend and the person that I thought I was gonna be with. I didn't lose him as in dying, but I lost him as like a partner in life. We just realized that we weren't going in the same direction. So that's how long distance relationships break up. It's nobody's fault. Usually. In this case, it was nobody's fault. We just were at different parts in our lives. And we are still really good friends to this day. But anyway, when I first moved out on my own, I was completely terrified. I spent 99.9% of the time on my own, and then when I wasn't on my own, I was with my new partner that I had known since I was 8 years old, and it was great because I had this big burly person to protect me and speak for me, which I didn't know in the end was gonna be a bad thing, because I was already used to people speaking for me and not really having a voice and not really being able to find my voice, but that story will come later. But yeah, I met him, and within 3 months, we were, engaged. He would come down to where I lived every month. Like, he would constantly be there, and there was nothing to do, so I fell into the trap of, you owe this person everything. It's like you're attached at the hip. It's not a healthy relationship, but you don't know where you would be socially without this person, so you're just gonna stick it out. And in the beginning, I really did love him. For the first year, I really did love him, but I think it was because we were distant. We were long distance, so there wasn't really living together. And then I moved in with him a year later, and oh boy, when they say when you live with somebody, you know them, you start to see their true colors. Yeah, I definitely did. And just a lot of stuff went down. I'm not gonna get into it because it's not fair to him, and he's not here to defend himself. So I don't feel like roasting him. But it just didn't work out, and we eventually found, or I found what I thought was a better partner, which didn't end up panning out either. Wow, this is really depressing. But let's keep going. So when I had met him, I had moved in with him this summer after I moved out on my own, and in retrospect, I should have lived there on my own for a good chunk of time until I knew that it was going to work out, until I knew that we were solid. We might not have ever ended up solid, but I didn't really give it a chance. I'm a look after kind of girl. I'm a leap before you look kind of person. That's what I'm trying to say. So I leaped before I looked, and it crashed and burned, and yeah, we are no longer friends, and it really sucks. It sucks in a way, but in a way it doesn't. But yeah, because he's moved on, and I am learning to be happy being single. Notice how I didn't say I'm happy being single, but I'm learning that it is perfectly okay to be single. And I'm 28, and I'm just now learning that, because I've been in a relationship from 18 to 27. So yeah. So I moved in here. We had the honeymoon phase. And then spiral, and then break up, and then when I finally figured out that this was not going to be the most ideal situation, he decided that we should part ways, and so we did. And yeah, we had our relapses and our setbacks, and we went back to each other, but it was not a good scene. But I realized that, like, in that moment, I knew what I wanted, and that just wasn't it. I probably, in retrospect again, I shouldn't have jumped into my next relationship, but you live and you learn. You do better, you know better, right? So yeah. So the next thing I learned was self-acceptance. when I met my most current ex-partner, she taught me a lot, even though it was short-lived. She taught me a lot about being okay with who you are, like strutting around, holding your head high. Yeah, she went through a lot of demons, and yeah, she had her own stuff to deal with, but she was always like, live your true self, live who you are, be a nerd, like be the example to other people what you want to be. Like, she never gave me the option to feel sorry for myself, and I am eternally grateful. Like, do not ever think I'm not grateful for that, because I really am. She opened my eyes to a whole nother world of that sheer fact of me having the self-acceptance. Like, I would never have gone on half the trips that I did with her. I would have never done half the things that I did with her. It would just have never happened. And I finally said, hey, look, this is who I am, world. I am gay, and I love everyone for who they are as a person. And once I did that, it was like a 20-pound boulder was lifted off my shoulders. So, like I said previously, that it did not work out. I had some stuff that I had to work through, and she ended up in the crossfire of it. Like, she had her part to play in it, but in the end, it was me that made it crash and burn, I think. Not saying that I'm blaming myself for the whole thing. I'm not saying that I'm blaming her. But yeah. I learned a lot from her. I learned how to loosen up a little bit. I learned how to not take life so seriously. And for that, I am forever grateful. Now, moving on to I guess I pretty much covered it all. Yeah. But yeah, I want you guys to know that, yeah, I did ramble on and I did give you guys examples, but basically what I took from, okay, let's go back and rewind a little bit. What I took from my 20th year was to try new things, and what I took from my 21st year was just to relax and figure out your next move. And then 22 was finding your next move. 23 was venturing out on my own. And these are ages, by the way. So I aged 23, venturing out and having my first apartment. And 24 was basically the relationship stage of my life. So from 24 to 27. Was the relationship stage. So, I learned a lot from that, and I really do appreciate all my exes for what they did for me. And then this year is a year of self-discovery, and I'm not gonna let no person get in my way this time. I am going to live my best life. Yeah, there might be hiccups mentally, physically, emotionally, all that, but I'm gonna deal with it on my own so that when I do get a relationship and when I do find that human that I'm meant to be with, or find somebody that I can vibe with, whether that be a friend or whether that be a relationship, then I can express to them my whole truth and they will be okay with it. Again, thank you so much, Minnie Mancino, for inspiring this self-reflective podcast. I adore you. You're amazing. So yeah, guys, go check her out. And on that note, I am out, and I will talk to you guys next weekend. I do not know what the next podcast is, but when I know, you will hear my lovely voice on YouTube. Alright, I will talk to you guys soon. Alright, keep your chins up. Peace out.